Okay, guys, this is going to be a long one. I have no idea how long it's going to be, but just relax. Wait until the kids go to bed, airplay it on the big screen, get yourself a drink, and just chillax, okay? Because what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through 2 stacks of books that I have pulled aside from my bookshelves that we're going to be covering this year as we study early modern American history into modern history, and we're also studying early world history into modern history of world events and all that kind of stuff, you know? So I'm going to be doing flip throughs of everything. But guys, I also wanted to tell you too, is to make sure you get out a notepad and pencil so that way you can be taking notes for those of you guys who are interested as I'm going through it. But don't stress too much about getting the titles for everything, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a hyperlink down in the description, and it's going to take you to a special category that I'm going to put into my Amazon. Is it Amazon shop or something? Amazon shop. And in there is going to be all the books, okay? So don't worry too much. Just like maybe take notes on the ones that you're particularly interested in, but you don't have to like take such studious notes, okay? Because I'm going to link it down in descriptions. Okay, and I'm going to be holding everything with my phone, so I apologize if things get like a little bit shaky, but I think that this is the easiest way. That way I can get up close and stuff like that, you know? So this book, The President's Decoded, I actually really like, and we are going to be flipping through all the things, okay? So I'm telling you, just lay back, relax, give it some time. But here's a table of contents for the president's that's being covered. But what I really like, so this is going to be all the presidents through Biden. Okay, so all the presidents through Biden. But what I really like are the first couple pages, this introduction, before you actually get into each presidential like biography. So it breaks down the branches of government and the duties for each branch of government, the role of the president, the role of Congress, the role of Supreme Court. But what I also like is it also breaks down primary sources, secondary sources. It gives definitions for all that. So it's like a really great overview of things, you know, and how to examine it and try to interpret it and the information that you can gain from looking at those documents. Okay, now for the biography portions, I like it because I feel like it discusses things that ordinary biographies that come in a big reference style book like this don't necessarily dive into. Does that make sense? So sometimes when you see a big one like this with it's including all the presidents, sometimes you get a very superficial overview, or maybe not superficial is not the right word, but kind of like the same thing that you see. This I feel is a little bit different. So all the biographies are short. So here you have it on George Washington, and you have it over here on the left, relevant facts, what party he belonged to, birth, death, where he was from. But I feel like the information that's being given in here is different, and it's more engaging, and it's not the same old that you normally see. So you have like a letter in here that he wrote to Martha Washington in 1775. And then this decoded part is interpreting it, which is why it's called The President's Decoded, you know? And I think that is really cool. And then it goes on over here. Now he has another letter, and then it's decoded here along the bottom. And so I like it. And then you have Article 12 of Jay's Treaty, and there you go. And then it's decoded down there at the bottom. And then it continues on over here, the Whiskey Rebellion Proclamation, and then the legacy that he leaves behind. So you see, it's not just like a 1 and 2 page spread. Like that was like 4 or 5 pages. And then his farewell address, and then it decoded. And then let's look at this one, for instance. Same flow, right? So you get the quick facts over here for John Adams, a did you know section, life before the presidency, and then a letter to Abigail Adams, and then another decoded section in here. And then they have it over here, and then decoded, and then the legacy that he leaves behind. And so they do that for all of them. So that's why I really like this one. So a guide to the leaders who shaped our nation. United Tastes of America. I thought that this was just like a really cool one to do, you know, because you always see it like eat your way around the world, like go and eat some this dish from Africa and from Greece and stuff, but you don't really see it as much for like the United States. So I thought that would be really cool. So I'll show you what the table of contents looks like. So you have every state an intro, things you should know before you cook, and it's going to list out all the different states, but they even have Puerto Rico in here. So I think it's going to be territories in steak. In steak. I said steak. But see, I'm thinking about food. I said steak. It says territories and steaks. But that's the only one that I see, though. Oh, U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay. Oh, look. Recipe index by level of difficulty. That is what I need. Because even though I like it, doesn't mean that I have the capabilities for it, you know? So anyway, so you have the intro, cooking tips, things to know, cooking how-tos, kitchen tools. And now you're getting into the meat and potatoes. Get it? Haha. Meat and potatoes. Okay, eating in Alabama. It's going to tell you about the culinary culture of that state. And look, fried green tomatoes. Those are so delicious, especially when you have it with that, what's it called? A remoulade sauce, right? That like creamy, pinkish sauce. That's like a remoulade sauce, right? And then you have peanuts, wild turkey, lane cake, white barbecue sauce. Oh, look, peel and eat Gulf shrimp with lemon butter. And then a picture. And then you're going to have eating in Alaska. And it's talking about, I would imagine I'm going to see a lot of fish here and seafood. Look, deep fried pork hock. Alaskan ice cream. King crab. And then what's the recipe? That looks like some sort of like dip. What is it? Smoked salmon cream cheese spread. So see, it's not only meals, like it's gonna have like snacks and stuff. That's a wild rice hot dish. What else? I don't know what that is. That is a tabbouleh. Did I say that right? I don't know, but it's gonna have desserts and it has side dishes, muffins for what? Let me guess, Maine. Yes, blueberry muffins. So anyway, I'm gonna tie this in. We gotta stop doing that. I'm getting hungry. So we're gonna tie this into our what are we doing? Geography. Okay, the buck stops here. The presidents of the United States, and so I'm kind of doing two things here with you guys. I have filtered out my books to these two stacks that are currently over here. I have two stacks, and I filtered it down. But I'm also using this as an opportunity to filter it even more down. So I'm seeing if there's anything in here as I'm going through the videos with you guys and the books. And I'm like, okay, do I have enough things on the presidents here? Do I really need to include more? You know what I mean? So that's my whole point. So I'm double dipping over here with you guys. So the book stops here. You have a little introduction here. Ooh, then you have, I like the illustrations. And it's getting straight into the presidents. Oh, this is cool. So you have the first lady. I wonder if they're going to do that for every president. So that was the attorney general, the first attorney general, first copyright laws. Okay. No. So that's okay. So that was a really cool. I like this. This is a really cool. It's a different way of doing this versus just reading it. There's illustrations and now look, we're moving on to John Adams. But you just have to look in the picture. So in the picture, there's like different things. You see that like in the picture. Oh, sorry, that's Thomas Jefferson. Hold on. So not everybody got as big of a spread as George Washington. So George Washington gets a 2-page spread. And then John Adams. Oh, look. You see the date? That's handy. This is really cool. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking about doing these 1-page reports and having the kids, when we learn about the different presidents as we're going through early American history, to kind of emulate and kind of do the exact same style for their report on that president or their summaries. And I think that would be super cool, because look at how creative the information is being presented. Doesn't it look really cool? Okay, so while I'm doing this, I'm making my stacks over here into things I'm for sure including, okay? And then ones that, maybe not, right? So I got these a long time ago because they were part of, I want to say, Moving Beyond the Page. I think it was like one of their curriculums. So I got state and local government, the U.S. Supreme Court, and the other one is probably in here somewhere. So let's take a look at this. This is the By the People series. So this is state and local government. And here's a table of contents. Who's on the job? And then it goes like this. Okay. State and local government. And then you have, oh, I like this. Early forms of the U.S. government in 1619. And then it goes through. Oh, I like that though. That alone is like, that is really cool. All these, because these preceded the drafting of the U.S. Constitution, and each one was a basis for, like, we learn from each of these moments in drafting it. You know what I mean? In addition to the European government and stuff like that as well. But anyway, and now it's going to go through the different ones. So I like that one. Oh, I like that. Okay. Oh, and it's going to go into... Oh, I like it. I actually like it. Oh, I like it. Okay. Okay, so there's that one, state and local government. And then the U.S. Supreme Court. Let's see how they split that up. All right, here's a table of contents. Where's my... Oh, okay. I was like, I think that's page number, chapter number. I was looking at that like chapter 7, chapter 27. So page 7, chapter 1 starts from the time the Revolutionary War ended. And now you're drafting the Articles of Confederation. And then as it progresses, you know? Okay, the judicial branch, the executive branch, legislative branch. I mean, the visuals on this, like the anchor charts and the visuals that it does, I really, really like it. All right, and then the 2016 Supreme Court justices. That's cool. Okay, hold on. There's a glossary in the back. There was a glossary along the back as well. Hold on. I wanted to see this. The court structure. This is so cool that they included that. So the lower courts, and then moving up to the Supreme Court. All right, so that's cool. Hold on, guys. I got to get some water. Okay, I've had this one for so long, since my oldest was maybe like in first grade, how the U.S. government works and then how it all comes together as a nation. So this is just another like informational one as well. So like, here's your glossary, explains what a bill is, the branches. Like, I like the glossary on this. But it takes you through the steps, you know, like what, like, another really great one for like the visuals, like the presidents and the departments and the cabinets and what they are and stuff, and how you pass a bill, how people get elected, the budget, taxes, how laws are made. Like, look at that. Another really great visual here, how a bill becomes a law. And then again, breaking down of the separate branches, the legislative, executive, and the judicial branch. The Constitution, a little brief overview of that. I like that one. And that's why I continue to use it still. This is the exact same one, but I think one is a newer edition. I think this one's a newer edition, how the U.S. government works. And then I have this one too. So see, I liked it so much at one point. Both kids are getting one. Okay, so I have that. And then apparently I have 2 copies of this one. What's the big deal about elections and voting? I'll show you what the paperback version looks like. That's what the paperback version looks like. But I think it's going to be easier for us to look at from the big one. Okay. It is raining outside. He's like, it's a rainy, overcast day. Like, what better day than to look through books and stuff? So I personally like the big hardback one. If you can find the big hardback one and you like this, I like it because the illustrations are super cool. So it's done in narrative. Picture the scene, bonfires lighting up the town square as the parades of brass bands march by, floating wheeled, caged raccoons, bears, and eagles before rowdy crowds and torches exploding into shooting flames. What's all the excitement about? It's election day. Like, you know what I mean? I like it because it's just, instead of just spitting out facts and stuff, it's in color and beautiful illustrations, and it's kind of telling you a story, and it's explaining who votes, and, you know, love it. You know? So anyway, so that's a good one. We're never going to get through the stack of stuff. I hope you guys are relaxing. I'm so glad I didn't do this on Instagram, because I was like, I'm gonna do it on Instagram. There's no way I would run out of space because I just talk too much. We the Kids. This illustrator, David Catro, I attribute a lot to, if you have little ones and who are just now learning to read, I attribute a lot of my son's love for reading to this guy over here, because he created so many awesome early readers. My oldest loved it so much, and that kind of like ignited his love for reading, this guy. So he does tons, like there's so many. You can probably find them like really cheap, like if you go to thrift books and stuff. Not thrift books online, but like in person, going to like thrift bookstores and stuff, you can usually find them for like 50 cents or $1 a pop and stuff, you know. So keep an eye out for that one next time you guys go to a thrift store. But We the Kids is going over the preamble to the Constitution. So big words, big ideas. What does it all mean, basically? And so it's doing some definitions and phrases and interpreting it and all that stuff. And these big words express big ideas. Check out what this dog is doing in the story. And he will also help you understand what they mean. So anyway, it's going to take you step by step through the first part of the Constitution, right? The preamble. So we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. And then it goes through all the stuff in here. Let's skip back. And it's kind of going through it's just taking it sentence by sentence with some illustrations and stuff. But what they're doing, it's so hard to do this one-handed, but what they're doing is in the very beginning, they're going through and they're explaining it, right? So what does it mean? Do, ordain, and establish this Constitution. That means to write down and then live by a list of rules and promises for our government to keep and our people to obey, you know? So all this and stuff, every single one of the sentences and phrases is being explained in here. Okay, We the Kids. Remember the ladies, 100 great American women. I feel like it's my job as the only female in this house, and I do mean the only one. Even my dog is a male, okay? I feel like it's my job to represent, and I'm always trying to include women in all our studies and stuff, you know? Okay, so remember the ladies, it just has it in here. 100 great American ladies. I'll show you the table of contents. All right, so here's a table of contents. And I mean, the graphics are just cool, right? The illustrations. So you have Virginia Dare. You got to kind of look in here. You have Anne Bradstreet, Priscilla, Pocahontas, 20 women and girls executed as witches from Salem. So you just got to look a little bit closer in there, you know. Okay, I had to change positions. Sitting on the floor isn't as comfortable as you may think it is when you have to flip through like books and stuff. So, we're continuing on. There's still more ladies and stuff. We're just in the intro still. All right, let's get into, hold on. Okay, I'm going to try to keep showing. Oh, we are in the book. I was like, where? That's the table of contents. No, it's not the table of contents. We are in the book. Because I was like, oh my goodness, we're just going number by number. No, we are in it. Hold on a second. Okay, this one is a clearer one that you guys can see. We are in it. So see how we're at number 55? So what they're going to do is just provide us with like a little caption on why that person is important. This is like, I was like, what is going on? So like, look at Amelia Earhart. There, she gets 2 paragraphs and stuff. So I think that I'm going to keep this one for us to do because this can be an initial research rabbit trail, right? So if I'm like, let's pick a woman from history and let's do a biography of her. And so they may not know where to even begin. Like, where do you even begin with something like that? I can bring out this book and I'll be like, here's a book, go through it, find someone who you're interested in learning more about, and then we will do further research, you know? So this is a good step 1, where they can find someone that they are interested in that way first, you know? Okay. I was like, what is going on? Okay, We the People, the story of our Constitution. Ooh, I like that in the back. Hold on. Hold on a second. All the sources back here. Okay. Oh, it's done in narrative. Yeah, just in narrative form. Okay, what happened after we won the American Revolution? The drafting of the Constitution, the delegates all getting together. But I really like the illustrations. Illustrations do it for me, you know? I like it. I think we're going to do it. So We the People, the story of the Constitution. Okay, we're almost to the end of the first stack. From Sea to Shining Sea, a treasury of American folklore and folk songs. Oh, this has nothing to do with like geography and Constitution books. This got misfiled. But I included it because I'm like, this would be really cool for us to do anyway, as we're doing American history again. So might as well like share it with you guys. So here you go. Here's a table of contents. And look for what they have for a shot heard around the world. Revolutionary Tea, Paul Revere's Ride, Yankee Doodle, the Tories conversion, Johnny Has Gone for a Soldier. So let's just turn to that page. Let's take a look at that. Page 54. Oh, that's cool. Hold on. All right, so here we are. The revolution. So that's the song. And there it is. Okay. And then the poem, Paul Revere's Bride. And then continuing on. And then Yankee Doodle. And then this is a short story or a folk tale. The Tory's Conversion. I never heard of it before. And then Johnny Has Gone for a Soldier, another song. So American folklore, folk song. So that was probably like a folk tale. Okay, and then you have Benjamin Franklin, inventor, statesman, patriot. Compliments of disabled American veterans. Okay, intro, a boy from Boston, successful printer, man of science. And then an intro. I love the way it's written. Is it the most exciting one to look at? No, because it's just in black and white, but the story and how they tell it is where the magic is, you know? I will not allow another son of mine to become a sailor. It's a wicked life. We'll find a trade for you on the land where you belong. Okay. All right. Time for stack number 2. That was just stack number 1. Okay, here's the next stack. So United Tweets of America. This is birds. Birds from every state, if I remember correctly. And again, it's just really pretty to look at, and I think it's fun. Look at that, how funny. Yeah. And so as we're doing our geography and as we're trying to like, oh, state bird or state animal, but blah, 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 then they can use this as like a reference point, you know? I think the illustrations just look really cool. Okay, and then this one shouldn't even be in this stack because this needs to be in the family read aloud stack because this is one that I'm going to dedicate like a whole block to because I think that this one really lays a really solid foundation, goes into a lot of depth and stuff, you know? So the Bill of Rights, it's going to go into each one step by step by step. So Bill of Rights, what is it? And then it's going to start breaking each of the amendments down. Okay, so hold on, because I want to pause it. Because I know it doesn't in like, all black and white and all that stuff, right? But hold on. I'm just going to pause it here and I'm going to get close so you guys can read it. So you can see the flow. Because to me, it's all about the story. I don't want to read anything dry. And if I don't want to read anything dry, I know my kids aren't going to want to. And so to me, it matters how they're presenting the information. You know what I mean? Here, hold on. And then they provide the original verbiage, right? So in here, this is what it actually says. And now what they're going to do is they're going to take that and each one is going to get broken down. So you have a question, things to remember about it, and then it's going to go into detail. But again, pay attention to the verbiage and how they're presenting the information. Because I think this is as interesting as it's going to get. Like, this is as interesting, like, in written form as you're going to get, you know? So I actually need to put this one off to the side because that is not, like, that's one that I actually have to do together. Okay, side-by-side Declaration of Independence, a side-by-side plain English translation. All right. So first of all, they're talking about the what happened prior to all of this, right? Taxation without representation, Continental Congress, independence is being declared. How to use this book. Deciphering what the Declaration is saying isn't easy even for adults. So first we learned some background knowledge on it, and now we're getting into it. So the original text, the unanimous Declaration of the 13 United States of America. That's quite an opening statement. The key word here is unanimous. Declaring independence from Great Britain was incredibly bold, not to mention dangerous and risky, right? Like, that's a really great one. So I'm like, okay, so far I haven't really necessarily eliminated anything. They made new taxes without our permission, no taxation without representation, and now they're going to explain it to us. So we have one on deciphering, presidents being decoded. We also have one somewhere in that stack, decoding the Constitution, or the Bill of Rights at least, right? And then now we have a side-by-side Declaration of Independence, like the translation of that one, you know? All right, so I know you guys have probably seen this one a lot. The Wacky Atlas, crazy stuff. So these are just like crazy facts of the United States. So again, when we're doing our geography notebooks and stuff, something for them to pull out of additional resources that they can pull from here and be like, oh, okay, Florida, I'll write down this fact about them, you know? Okay, so that's Wacky Atlas. This is the, excuse me, this is a spine for the Memoria Press one. So for Memoria Press, this is the one that they recommend. So don't know much about the 50 states. I have 2 copies. So we're going to be doing the U.S. geography from there, which is really just a lot of memorization. It's a lot of map work and knowing where it is on the map. And it's the same with their world geography. And so this is their spine to go along with that. But honestly, you can use anything. You can use that Tweets of America one, and you can use this one too, you know? So you can really incorporate anything that you want to fill out the worksheets that go into the Memoria Press one. You really can. But let me show you what the inside looks like. So there's a 1-page breakdown per state. So Michigan, you have all that info, and then you have Minnesota and all that info. Now, obviously, if you're going to use it with the Memoria Press one, their questions are all the same. Like, what was the nickname, and when did it become the state, or the state, when did it become part of the state, and then the capital, state flower, state bird. So those are the questions that Memoria Press is going to ask you. So while I say that you can really use anything, you just have to make sure that if you want them to answer those questions in the workbook pages, a student guide for Memoria Press's United States and capitals, make sure that it has that, you know. But again, if you're not concerned with them knowing the state flower and state bird, then who cares? And you can just use anything. But you can use this in addition to other things too. You don't always just have to stick with like the same one, you know. Like, here's another one, Scramble States of America. Actually, I don't think this one's going to give you too much information. This one's mainly about observing the states and trying to memorize them based on like their geographic peculiarity, you know, like the shape of it. Let me show you. So like, hold on, let me show you. Like, look at that. Arizona, who traded places with South Carolina, was upset because the Ocean Kings waves kept ruining her hairdo. There was one here that was a really great one. It's just it's silly like info, but it's factual and it's interesting. There was one on Florida that said Florida looked like a boomerang. Or am I thinking about, maybe I'm confusing this with like another one. But either way, this one's like kind of a fun read. But they looked at the state shape of Florida and was like, you can always recognize Florida because it looks like a boomerang. And I thought that was really cool because that's an interesting way of remembering the states and where they're located in their shape. Because if you remember them according to like a fun little fact, like, hey, Florida looks like a boomerang, then you know what I mean? Okay, so that's Scrambled States of America. And I like this one. This is just a copy of the Declaration of Independence. That's it. It's just a copy. So what I would do is I could use that one with with this. So side-by-side Declaration of Independence, so you have that one, but this is a big font one that has it all in one area. So don't let the size fool you, because it's like, oh, that's a thick one, right? But it's in big fonts. Let me show you. See? I just like it. I just like it, and I feel like I need it in my life, you know? I've had it for a lot of years. I came across it, I think, at a used bookstore one time. I just think it's cool. And how they have it, like, illustrated and all the things, you know? So anyway, so there's that. And then here's an interactive Constitution one. So it may look like I have a lot of Constitution stuff, and I may, but they're all hitting different areas, I feel. Yeah, so explore the Constitution with flaps, wheels, and color changing words and more. Okay, so this one's a little bit more interactive. You got little flappies and things, and see, like that, what a monarchy is. What is the Constitution? And then the Revolutionary War. Creating the Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, the Constitutional Convention. Ooh, the 3/5 Compromise. Oh, this is cool. Hold on a second. How does this work? Oh, am I like, oh, hold on. I was doing it from a different direction. Hold on. So see how it changes at the bottom? So that's this one. And that's a cool visual. That's a cool one. Look, another one. See? Okay. And then this is color changing words right here. So then you would just, what is this one? It goes like that. See that? Oh, this is cool. I haven't used this one yet. That's why I'm like, I feel like I'm looking at this with brand new eyes. I haven't used this one because I felt like my kids weren't ready quite for it. Now we are ready. You know, so then that is the interactive Constitution one. Here's greetings from the 50 states, how they got their names. So again, another thing for us to do for like our notebooking and stuff. So Washington, love the illustrations. It's telling you how the state got its name. Virginia, Tennessee, New York. Like just another thing to add to like our arsenal as we're notebooking, because I don't want to just do it from the Memoria presses and just be like, okay, here's the map, here's the one book that we're doing, and then there you go, because that's going to get old real quick, and it's going to become more rote. It's going to become more without any thought, you know what I mean? And I don't want that to happen. So I want to make sure that they are pulling from multiple sources and just trying to keep their interest active, because I don't want it to just become what's the word I'm thinking, like just where it becomes just automatic, you know, without anything really like, okay, I just gotta find the state bird, state flower, yada yada, bam bam bam, there, and they're not really like absorbing anything, you know. So there's that. So you know, I loved the other one so much that when I saw this one, I got it. To be honest, I think I got this in DC at one of the gift shops that's from the museum, and I think that's what happened. So the president's decoded, the Constitution decoded. So it's gonna be just like the presidential one, except it's gonna be, oh, and this is softback, not hardback like the other one. So Bill of Rights, and a did you know, an amendment, ratification, slavery, an amendment versus a law. I like the translation portion. So section 3. So I'm showing it to you guys backwards. Section, hold on, I'm showing it to you guys backwards. Let's see the table of contents. All right, so you're going through the preamble, Article 1, Article 2, so on, the Article 7, amendments, and they have the Declaration of Independence in here, the Articles of Confederation. It's giving you the intro, how to use this book, important people. Now it gets into, okay, so here's the preamble. translation. And who are the people? And a did you know? And now you're getting into each article. Article 1, Section 1, translation. Look at the graphics. I mean, I really like this whole series. Oh, look at this one. Examples of the powers assigned to federal, state, and local governments. The federal government can do all this stuff. State governments can do that. Local governments can do that. That is so good. That is so good. That is so good. Okay. Now I have 2 of these. If you've never seen these, here, let me hold it up. They're like the shape of the state. And I think that is so neat. Here, let me show you the other one that I have. Hold on. Like, here's Massachusetts. And that's so cool. I got these all at the gift shops for like these places. I'm telling you, I'm like the gift shop person. I go into these museums and I go into like these like state offices and stuff, and I'm like, let me see the bugs that you have, you know, like all these different places. We went to an underground like mine shaft or whatever in Pennsylvania, because we're coal mine county. They had a gift shop too. I go straight for them, you know, so it's cool. And the illustrations are always fun. Tons of information, every page just on that state. Like it's just a ton of facts and stuff. So again, to tie in with our geography, when we get to these states, when we get to Pennsylvania, and then when we get to Massachusetts, you know, then we can use that. Oh, this is the one that I said, so I was wrong on the other one. This is the one that helps you remember the states according to its shape. And I know it looks like a really old one, and it is. Puzzle Maps USA by Nancy Klaus. Look. Let me see if I can find that Florida one. Like, look. And this is giving me craft ideas, too. Look. Does this spotted dog have a tail to wag? You can see the capital of the United States in its eye. What is it? How many states can you find? So recognizing the states according to its shape, and then the answer key is right below it. Look at that one. Here's a pretty flower growing in a pot. Is your state here? Is it in the blossom, the stem, or the flower pot? So you got to know, like, the shapes, you know? Isn't that cool? I thought that was so cool. And a lot of people will probably just, like, walk right on by this book. Like, oh, that's an old book. Listen, don't go according to the cover. Isn't that cool? Look, Michigan looks like a mitten with a scarf. Louisiana looks like an armchair with a fridge. Florida looks like a boomerang or a boot. What does your state look like? You know, I think that's really cool. Okay. All right. I shared this one already, didn't I? In an unboxing with you guys. If you haven't seen that, I think it was the first unboxing part 1. Or was it unboxing part 2? It was one of the unboxings that I literally just did a week or 2 ago. So our states have crazy shapes. This is going into the geography of it. How the state lines were created, the boundary lines and stuff. And it's just giving you like a 3-page summary. So like here, Tennessee, 1, 2, 3. That's it. And then you have Ohio. 1, 2, 3. And then Louisiana. 1, 2, 3. So again, tying it into our geography and stuff. So translated for kids, the Constitution. This was signed by the author. That's cool. Thanks for being my friend. And thanks for your dedication to our Constitution. Much love. Paul. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. Okay. A message to parents. Message to children. That's cool. Excuse me. Birth of a democracy. Here is the timeline. And now complete text of the United States Constitution with the translation directly next to it on the other side. So here's a complete text with the translation going on this side. Original text, translation. This is awesome. I need this. This is going to be for my oldest, and he will go through this. You know what I mean? And we will, as we're deep diving. And look, the powers, the separation of powers and the different branches and the jobs and what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. words to look at while you're reading. It's like a glossary. These fast facts here along the bottom. Yeah. It goes into like, isn't that cool? I'm telling you, sometimes when you look at it, like wah, but it's good, right? Okay, we're writing the Constitution, so I think this one was going to be for my youngest, and I think this one was going to be for my older boy, and this one I'm going to do one-on-one with my youngest. So at a certain point, we're going to branch off, and my oldest is going to have his own thing to do and read, and then I will be doing this like with my youngest. U.S. Constitution and you. The glossary along the back. I love when they include a glossary. States have rights. The Bill of Rights. If you want to change the Constitution, how easy or hard is that to do? Checks and balances, executive branch, judicial branch. Here's another good anchor chart. Monarchy. This looks very similar, actually. Did I already? Oh, it's an updated version. I was like, this is looking, maybe I already have an older copy. I don't know. But this, again, could be something I branch off with my youngest one to do. Presidential elections and other cool facts. Oh, look at this. Hold on. A resource guide. Books. Reference books. Hold on. Websites. That's what I was looking to see if they had. And then an index. Presidents in chronological order. And the times, the dates that they served, their political affiliation. Order of succession. I think this is the first book, actually, that I've seen, unless I missed it in the other ones, which I very well could have, that actually discusses that. Famous first ladies, I think, yeah. Roosevelt's keeping it in the family. The Bushes, Roosevelt, that's funny. The campaign and third party. So this is actually, yeah, the Electoral College. I don't think that I have another book that's like this. Yeah, I don't think I do. Okay, my most favorite one is this last one that I'm going to show you, but I just have to like stretch my back. We've made it. I don't know how long this video is going to be once I put it all together, but it's going to be long, and I hope you guys had a really good drink. I'm going to put it, again, I'm going to put it at the bottom in the what's it called? Like that thing at the bottom where you can write little notes on it. Whatever, that area right there is where I'm going to go, and I'm going to link it where you can get all this stuff. It's all going to be there, so you can look at it in the future. You don't have to take notes if you don't want to. It'll be there. Haunted USA. Did you expect anything less from me? Like, come on, like you knew, of course I'm going to. Spine tingling. I just lost an earpiece. Hold on. Okay, spine tingling stories from all U.S. states. Of course I'm going to. As we do this is actually my spine. No, this is going to be my core for every state that we learn about. I'm busting this thing out. And these are not like little kitty, little one, like one paragraph things either. It's just enough meat in there to keep us going. You know what I mean? Not too long that it adds to a ridiculous amount of length to our lessons, but just short enough that it keeps it going, you know? Of course I was. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. My back is killing me. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you enjoyed this, if I should do other stacks and stuff. So this is my, again, U.S. Geography Constitution stack that we're going to be using for the 26-27 school year. We're going to start using it, as a matter of fact, next week. That's when we're jumping into it. We homeschool year round. So when I say next school year, I literally mean in like a week, we're going to start jumping into it. All right, guys, bye. Just kidding. I totally forgot to share this. This is another thing that I've had for like a couple years, and I have two of them, just like facts of the United States. I don't know if as a kid, like you guys ever did anything like this. I totally did. Like, my mom would get me these kind of things, like the brain quest type ones. And so this is like one like on every state. All right, that's it. That really is the it. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Bye, guys.